were kind of all together for that wonderful wedding out in Dartmouth. So let's say happy anniversary to Caroline.
And I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe just the touch of the hand. And me, I fall in love with you every single day. I just wanna tell you I am. So honey, now take me into.
Does anybody here know what the cookie skid is? No? Alright, we're going to put on the cookie skid for you. 3, 2, 1.
I'm thinking out loud. Maybe we found love right where we are.
You're going to take this into the stage? Oh, I don't like this. You're going to hold on to this, okay? You're going to stay right there. All right.
Cause honey, your soul can never grow old, it's evergreen. And maybe you're forever in.
We don't sell funnel cake here. We just ran out.
There's chocolate cake in the bag. Zeke?
Sorry, we don't have any chips. Oh, we're all out of cheeseburgers. I'm sorry. Oh, we stopped carrying those a while ago. I'm sorry. Oh, we're all out. We just ran out. I'm sorry. No, we don't sell any Gatorade. Well, right here you can see I have 2 dum-dums on a stick.
Wish I had all my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud that maybe we found love right where we are.
Yeah, it's Psalm 127 says some really good stuff about family, children, stuff like that. So here we go. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them.
Senior at Penn State, and I had just gone down to Washington to interview for the nuclear power program. It was at this point that I sold my soul, and it has done me well ever since. So the letter itself is quite long. It talks about a lot of stuff. I will only get to the important start. But first, there's the usual college stuff. Please send money. Mom, I need more clean underwear. We'll skip over all that. I also say I was 21 years old and a little presumptuous because I listed the people that I had my technical interviews with in here, and one of them's name was Forcell. Now, I'm not sure if any of you recognize that name, but after I got in the nuclear power program, Pat gave me a book on the nuclear navy, and I, of course, read it 20 years later. And in that book, there is a picture of the original design team for the Nautilus, and guess who was sitting at the table? Al Forcell, who I interviewed with 30 years later, and in this letter, I think I pulled the wool over his eyes. So maybe not as presumptuous, but getting to the good part. It starts here that after lunch, I'm skipping all the morning stuff. Let's see. Several of us late finishers, this is myself, stayed in the rating room for over an hour. We sat there waiting outside the Admiral's office. The Admiral, of course, is Admiral Hyman G. Rickover. The infamous man is infamous throughout the entire nuclear Navy and nuclear civilian industry. He is also referred to by many names, including Rickover, Jaime, Admiral Rickover, and several that are quite derogatory. However, at naval reactors in Washington, he is looked like with godlike qualities and huge reverence, and referred to simply as the Admiral. I waited outside of his office for about an hour and a half until my name was called. As I sat in the waiting room, the phone would ring from time to time, and different midshipmen would go out for additional technical interviews. Now, you skipped that part. It was pretty stressful. So every time the phone rang, my heart would jump, and I think I've developed a permanent phobia about telephone rings. My actual interview with the Admiral was short and ended before I realized it had started. I was escorted into his office by an escort officer who constantly told me to hurry, hurry, hurry as I covered the 10 yards between the door and his chair. As I entered the office, the escort officer gave my name and the Admiral launched into his first question before I even sat into the chair. The first question was the standard question: why do you want to be in my program? Now, I had been practicing this answer for an hour and a half inside his office, so I coolly launched into my answer that I was in a technical major and I wanted to stay in a technical field. To this, the Admiral responded with his classic, have you ever heard this? Bullshit! Okay. To which he started on a tirade about how it was petroleum engineering going to prepare me for the nuclear power program. It was at this time that I noticed that I got my first chance to notice this very old, white-haired man in a blue polyester suit with thick dandruff stains on the shoulders, behind an old wooden desk. His chair was old, and he had a blanket on the back of the chair. In fact, the entire office probably had the same furniture which was present when he interviewed the officers for the Nautilus in 1953, and it was probably old at that time. He was holding a stack of papers, the top one of which had my name on it, and there was a very large stack of the same papers on his desk. It became obvious to me that I was just another applicant, and he was just asking random questions and not really caring about my answers. Talk about an arrogant idiot. This guy is sharp as a tack. So then, after I responded to his outbursts about petroleum engineering by saying that I was interested in petroleum engineering before I became interested in nuclear power. And I think I'm gonna pull a wool over his eye. And he began to shout at me again, and I noticed this time now that there actually is no model of the Nautilus inside his office. That was a famous story. And along with everything else, he seemed to be in a really bad mood. Following this latest outburst, he asked how long I had been interested in nuclear power. Now I, a 21-year-old midshipman who had been interested in nuclear power or seriously entering the program for 3 weeks, was not going to tell that to the father of the nuclear Navy. And so I calmly said, 18 months. And remember this guy who wasn't paying attention? He immediately computed and said, that's the beginning of your junior year. No one has taken courses in their major at the beginning of their nuclear year. I am now dancing on the carpet with the best in the world. Let's see, and I said I would have had to drop out and I gave some real rigmarole answer. And he returned fire by quickly saying I returned fire by quickly saying that I had already taken courses in my major by that time, and it would have delayed graduation, and I thought it was very important to start my Navy career on time. To this, he gleaned over my transcripts. Oh God. I had made up that previous line. He cleaned over my transcripts and said, "That is enough." He threw the paper on the floor, and I briskly walked out of the office. The entire ordeal lasted less than 2 minutes, and I felt as if there was no way good enough to make up for my abysmal start that morning. So then it goes on and on, but it's less eventful after that. And as you probably realize, I was accepted by the end of the day, and the rest is history.
First off, I wish to thank everyone for joining us. It's been a wonderful evening, and we certainly enjoyed everybody being here. We've heard the words about the past and the present. My only concern is about the future. And I've noticed that everybody here all uses electronic advocacy to add 2 plus 2 to get 4. And one of these days, some one of these wizards are going to figure out how to shut all these machines down, and then nobody was able to take 12 divided by 5 and get 3. Okay? So I have here instructions about how to make your own slide rule.
All these things and attention that we've given to Graham or Mom, here's something for you. So these are full of little notes that have been put together by many of the folks here in this room, things for you to be able to read and think about. But they start out with some things about your immediate family, some things about your own neighborhood, and then a lot of thoughts on the parts of many in this room on what you meant to them. So enjoy reading.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad it's in German. Thank you.
We do one more hymn together. I think it's just not appropriate for us to not honor Mom and Dad for the ones that really put this all together and continue to make it so important for us to work as a family and get to know each other and stay connected. Let's thank Mom and Dad for a wonderful weekend.